Thank you all for coming. I'm grateful you are here, and I welcome you also there on the holy interwebs. I'm delighted that you're choosing to spend this time with us. And look, it takes effort and work of love to pull this together. And I'm grateful to every single one of you for making it happen. Those of you who came yesterday and set it all up, thank you. That was your Saturday afternoon. And then, thank you for practicing, bringing us wonderful music. And even though our group is small because sickness is big this season, you did a wonderful, wonderful job. And thank you also for doing your job on the technology, sound, all of that. And for the greeters, how wonderful to be together. So thank you for all of you, to all of you. Today, I want to give you, and I will give you, a little overview, historical overview of our very beginnings, and then where we are today as the Unitarian Universalist movement. It will be very short because I'm only allowing 2 hours for this talk. And then once I gave you that little historical overview, I will invite two of our members to tell you why they first came here and why they keep coming back. And you might find that interesting. And then after that, I will give you a few reasons why not to be a Unitarian Universalist. And that shall conclude my bit up here. So we have a plan, yeah? In the mid-1500s, a little earlier, but 1500s, the printing press was invented. And it was a huge thing. It was as huge as social media is today. And the hopes attached to the printing press were much like the hopes attached to the internet and social media. They thought, now we can print all these books, we can spread information among the people faster, wider, in larger volumes, and that shall bring people together. And it will enlighten people, and it will educate them, and all the bright future this will create. And so they did just that. But us being humans, and because we like what we like, turns out that the most frequently printed literature was on witch hunting. And even though there were other literature, like even the Bible printed, the ones that flew hot off the shelf was the literature of the witch hunting. And so, even though the hope was that this will bring in this time of enlightenment, of education, of coming together, in fact, it set off the darkest of the darkest ages, where women, mostly women, were burnt at the stake. It turns out that every major change, at the onset of every major change throughout history, we first explored the dark side. And then once we've explored it enough, we've hurt enough, we've experienced enough pain, then the balance begins to return, and then the cracks appear, and that's how the light gets in. However, this did usher in a change. The Bible was printed, more people started reading it. They even began translating the Bible. Until then, the Bible was the domain of the Catholic Church. The priests spoke Latin everywhere where the Catholic Church existed, even though the locals spoke no Latin whatsoever. So the priest was the intermediary between God and people. And this did come to, well, an end-ish, because in the Catholic Church that is still the belief. However, Reformation begun. And there were voices now that could be amplified because of the printing press, such as Calvin's, Martin Luther's, and a departure from the teachings of the Catholic Church begun. And then new movements were established. So the Lutheran Church emerged based on Martin Luther's teachings, and then based on Calvin's teachings, the Calvinist Church emerged. Protestantism took place, took hold. And so imagine that this is a time where all kinds of ideas are in the ether, in the collective consciousness. And people are thinking, and people are rethinking and considering, and they're coming together, they're talking. So another new idea emerges, and it emerges throughout Europe. This is mostly a European movement. And there are these people who say, like, this Trinity thing, I don't know about that. It just, how does that really work? If I don't check my logic, my intellect at the door, how can I really incorporate this into my beingness without some conflict? God, Son, Holy Spirit, all one, three, it's just complicated. And we just don't think that this stands. So, they said, we think there is just the one God, and then we think that Jesus was an exceptional human being who is worth emulating, whose teachings are quite wonderful. We just can't quite go there to say that he is God. Hence, Unitarianism, the oneness of God, uni-God. Unitarianism started to sprout. This idea started to show up like tiny little light bulb. Here, and one of them was blinking in Transylvania. And there was this guy, his name was David Francis, and he started out as a monk. But then he got to thinking, and he thought, yeah, this is not really working out for me. So he started studying Luther's teachings. And then he became a Lutheran. But once you start thinking, it's hard to shut it off. So he kept thinking, and he thought, I don't know. This is still very similar to where I come from. Sure, there are some changes. I don't think it's enough, though. So he explored Calvinism, and he thought, okay, I think I like this better. So he became a Calvinist preacher. But same thing, once you start thinking, it's hard to turn it off. And he kept thinking, and he thought, Trinity, nah, I just can't buy it. I can't buy it. So he became a Unitarian. He was the first one in Transylvania to become a Unitarian. And then he met with the governor, with the Prince of Transylvania. I am from Transylvania. And they started talking. The governor thought, wow, that makes a lot of sense. He was Catholic. And he thought, that makes a lot of sense. So he said, you know what? I'm buying this. I'm buying this. I am taking on your way of believing. I like this. So he became Unitarian. And you know, back in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, the way the king, the ruler, the governor, the prince went, so did the people. Except here. He said, I'm buying this so much. I so believe in the freedom of thinking, in the freedom of human beings choosing what is right for them, that I am not forcing my people to convert to Unitarianism. Instead, for the first time ever in the history of humanity, he declared freedom of religion. He said, everybody in this country can believe the way they want to. Nobody will dictate how another should believe. That is our DNA. That we carried throughout the centuries. We never wavered. So our roots, of course, they're definitely, firmly in Christianity. And today, we are unlimited spiritually. Because once you think, once you start thinking, you just can't turn it off. So today, less than 1/4 of all Unitarian Universalists in this country consider themselves Christian. The rest are agnostic, atheist, Buddhist, Hindu. Well, you name it. That's who we are today. Because that DNA that was established back there allowed for this. Allowed for you and for me to come as we are. Without needing to change our belief system, it allowed us to express ourselves authentically in here. And be embraced, be appreciated, heck, be loved for who we are. In fact, at the center today is love. And then, if you have a God of your understanding, it is love. And if you don't, it is still love. So that is the very brief historical overview that I'm offering to you today. And I could tell you a lot more, but you can go home and Google. So you can read up a lot more because it's interesting, because there's a lot there. Now I will invite my two people, first Nancy and then Caitlin, to share with you why is it that they first came here and why they keep coming back. And then I will give you reasons why not to be a Unitarian Universalist.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Kelmy, and I'll tell you how I got here. It was almost 30 years ago. My husband and I didn't have a church to go to. We'd gone to a Unitarian Universalist church that I really loved what they had to say. I loved the inclusiveness and the freedom to use your own brain and to play with ideas and explore things without having the fear that someone was telling you you're going to hell if you doubt something or if you question something, if you go beyond these boundaries. I love that about Unitarian Universalism. But we weren't going to a church at the time. Well, we heard through the grapevine that there was a new congregation, UU congregation, that was forming in Portage, just a mile from our house. And we had two children that were late elementary, heading into middle school, and I thought, I want my kids to be exposed in an environment where they are given ideas and encouraged of morality and what following their hearts in the right way and thinking about others. So we started going. And this particular congregation, almost 30 years ago, and hasn't changed much, is very welcoming. And we just immediately felt like, oh, this could be home for us. So we got involved quickly, and in the next 10 years, both my husband Joe and I took turns on the board. We were board presidents. We were in the middle of building something new. In our late 30s, it was great for our careers too. We got a chance to experience a lot of leadership and thought process of how do you work out these issues for the congregation. Oh, we need an office. Oh, we need a new building. Oh, we need this, we need that. How do we encourage new members? There was so much to create, and we were part of it. We weren't just around the outside edges because we were new. Everybody was new. It was great. So as the years went on and our careers changed, and now at this point we're retired, we have spent so many years with this group getting to know people by working together on committees and special projects and everything. We have some very close relationships. We're very loyal to this church. It's meant a lot to us, and it's been just what we've needed in our lives. Now we're retired, and we live a long ways away, so we drive 45 minutes to an hour to get here every week. So every now and then we have no job, so we sleep in. But and Joe's home today because he's sick. But anyway, I really would miss having this community and seeing these faces every week and having cool things going on. Our Irish dinner, we have a service auction every year where people auction off an opportunity to come to their home and play games or have dinner, or they bring something here to the church. It's just fun, and this is like a community that you can choose of your own, and it's a community that you get inspiration on Sunday when you come, or if you're hurting, you come here and you can actually share with some people that care about you. We couldn't live without it, so that's why we are here.
Good morning, everyone. So we came here, Justin and I, we have two little boys, for those of you that we don't know. We moved here in 2020, in like the summer and the fall of that first season of the pandemic. And at that time, we were pretty content to be a little reclusive in our house, but eventually we wanted to make some more connections. We came from the Detroit area, so in that chapter, we really valued and prioritized communities that gave us the chance to grow and develop spiritually. And we both belonged to a Zen Buddhist temple in Detroit, and I had a very special yoga community, and we really valued those communities. So we missed them when we moved, naturally. So we were looking for some ways to make connections with folks that at least had some shared values. And in our South County newspaper, we saw an article about this church and said, oh, this sounds like something that we might be interested in. So we came one Sunday and tried it, and I think we've been coming since then. It's been about 2 years, so a lot shorter than Nancy's tenure, but a valuable 2 years. And I think the things that keep us coming back are very similar to what Nancy and Reverend G have said. For us, though, for Declan and Theo, we wanted them to have a chance to have some spiritual growth and development too, and definitely really appreciate the guidance that they get here under Miriam's leadership and many of the folks that are sitting here in the room that volunteer their time. And I feel like we get to do a little bit of the same upstairs. We get to explore lots of different themes and different ways of looking at the world, and I really cherish that all of those views are respected, and that, like, at the base of it all is that there are many different truths for folks, and that is embodied in the way that the service and the congregation are led under your leadership, Reverend G. So those are some of the reasons that are important to me, but to kind of bring it full circle, I feel like a congregation is only as good as the folks that belong to it. And this community has been nothing but caring and supportive to us in this little bit of time that we've had here. And I love that people hold each other up and check in on you, and I really see that and really value it. So that's what keeps us coming too. So thank you.
Why you shouldn't be a Unitarian Universalist. Well, I will contradict myself a little bit, because I said that here you can believe whatever you want, and now I'm going to tell you shouldn't be a Unitarian Universalist if you want to believe anything you want. Because there are certain things here that we totally do not believe in. We do not believe that we should take advantage of each other. We do not believe that you should be treated differently because of the color of your skin, level of your education, your social status, sexual orientation, your gender, your nationality. So you shouldn't be a Unitarian Universalist if you don't believe in equity and equality. If you don't want to treat people with respect, this may not be the place for you. We also very firmly do not believe that we should abuse the environment. It's quite the opposite. We believe that we should take care of it. So there shall be a home here for generations to come. It may not be for you if you believe that all life forms don't matter. This may not be the place for you. Because here, we don't believe that. Also, this may not be the place for you if when you come here, you have a need to check your reason, logic, and intellect at the door. Because here, we will require of you to think. We will require of you to grapple with serious issues. Here, we will require of you to get engaged, apply yourself, and think long and hard about what you stand for, why you stand for that, what you do not stand for, and why you don't stand for that. If you're not willing to walk your talk, this may not be the place for you. If you don't care about social activism, oh, this is definitely not the place for you. Because we get involved. We get down and dirty. And this isn't just true for us here today. When you go home and you Google Unitarian Universalists, which you will do, You will find out that Susan B. Anthony was one of us. You will find that there are so many prominent leaders who stood at the forefront of every social movement and fought and stood up. And we are the words of love. We are the acts of love. We are the words of justice. We are the acts of justice. And we do it however we can. Some of us stand in front and lead, and the others encourage from behind. Some of us can do it with money. We do it however we can. So if you're not about that, this may not be the place for you. This place will change you, and you, in return, will change this place. If you don't believe in generosity, oh, this is definitely not the place for you. Because here we believe in generosity. Here we believe that giving is an act of prayer. It's an act of spiritual fulfillment. Here we believe that we must and that we will stand for the marginalized, for the persecuted, for the disenfranchised. If you are the kind of person who believes that you should control other people's bodies, in particular women's bodies, this is not the place for you. Because here we firmly believe that a woman has a right to her choices, and we will fight to our last breath to make sure that that happens. This is a good place. This is a community that is tight, loves one another, and allows for that love to pour out into the larger community. And that love changes the larger community, and in return, it changes us. Love is at the core of our movement. If you have the need for a dogma, this is not the place for you. Because we are people of the covenant. The difference being is dogmatic people say this is who God is. This is what we believe about God. We know all about God. Well, we don't. And we don't pretend to. Nor do we pretend that we all believe in the same God, the same way, or at all. But we do believe that our relationships to one another should be right. And that is guided by the covenant. We're people of the covenant. We promise to respect each other, have compassion, support, uplift each other, and allow for our own authentic selves to flourish within our communities. And I think that is huge. I have never needed to say anything from this pulpit, from this platform, that I didn't firmly believe in. I didn't have to say it to keep my job, to fall in line. And that is huge. And that is not my privilege alone, because I stand on this platform. It is yours as well. And I think that is significant. So those are the reasons, some of the reasons, why you shouldn't become a Unitarian Universalist. But if you think you heard something here today that might be interesting to you, that you might want to further explore, then we will meet you there. We will engage your questions, your doubts, your concerns. We will support your causes. We will walk this path of this mysterious, unknowable, strange life that we are creating day by day. And while we don't know about heaven and hell, how could we? We do know that here today we can create it with our thoughts and actions, heaven or hell, today. One of our members always says she does not believe in life after death, but she sure believes in life before death. So that is what we are all about, to make that life right, just, equitable, possible for all, regardless of race, gender, sexual identity, social, economic status, nationality. If you're a human, you're good enough. And if you're not, you're a life form that we celebrate and that we cherish. Welcome to church.